I'm furious. Chuck Schumer and the Democrats. I have been a lifelong Democrat. I've been a Democrat since the 70s. Long time. And I am done with that. I am what you used to consider a moderate. And I'm still the same person. They changed. Schumer changed. Schumer, this resist means something. Resist.
Hey, it's Jordan. I am in Flint, Michigan, East Palestine, Ohio, Tumwa, Iowa. Please support the only independent outlet on the ground covering what the corporate media covers up.
First of all, introduce yourselves to me. You've been here at the rally all day.
I'm John Paul. I'm from Las Vegas, school teacher.
Okay.
I'm Jessica Rosenfeld from Summerlin area.
Oh. So Summerlin's a little bit of a suburb just to the south here, right?
Right, about 20 minutes or so.
Okay. You're a school teacher, so I want to ask you something right off the bat. Trump just signed an executive order this morning to completely destroy the Department of Education. I think this is an important conversation because what he just did is not legal. It's unconstitutional. We know that. But I think the end game here isn't just like trying to get rid of egalitarian DIE principles inside. I think it has to do with privatization of our school system. One of the arguments that the school voucher system has used is that it makes it more affordable and cheaper for the government. We now know that's false. Arizona is a prime example. They privatized a bunch of their schools and are deeply in the hole now and cannot fund things. As a teacher, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, the Department of Education, I don't think America realizes what it does. I think they believe they just do testing, that there's a whole lot more, whether it be special education. I think 12% of all the financing for American education comes from the federal government. And we're on the limits now. It's going to kill it. It's going to kill us. It's going to kill. They want to re-educate Americans.
Okay.
They would like to change the message.
Okay.
They would like to get rid of the messages they don't like and put the messages they do want in.
Okay.
So they're silencing. I'm not going to worry about that. There's messages they want to put forward that are not what we've taught in America for decades.
So you're saying the bigger issue here might be more nefarious messaging, maybe propagandizing kids, not just the money part.
Yeah, I really see it as, it's a groundwork effort to change the thinking of young Americans. And as they grow up, they will accept what we think is abnormal to be normal. That's their normalization process.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a big one.
So how did you come to the Bernie Sanders movement?
I've been involved with Bernie for a long time. Back in, I think it was like 2014, 2015, I didn't like politics. I thought all politicians were liars, would never tell the truth. And like, I had a friend who was like slowly showing me stuff about Bernie. And I'm like, he makes sense, but he's a politician. And she's like, well, what if he was saying that 20 years ago? And I'm like, yeah, no, that's not true. And about a month later, she called me up on the phone. About a month later, she called me up on the phone, and she said, Jess, who is this? And she played me over the phone, so I didn't see it on video. Bernie. And she's like, who is this? And I'm like, it's Bernie Sanders. And I'm like, but he's got new numbers. And she's like, yeah, that was Bernie in 1982. So then at that point, since I had already said I'd work for him, I started working for him, and I got very involved in politics since then.
Interesting. So a question for both of you. How are you feeling right now about some of the things that the Democratic Party has done recently? Chuck Schumer didn't fight against cloture. He was trying to rally a lot of the people in his party to vote yes. He thinks he's right on this, given what he said after the fact. And I would also like to turn to Gavin Newsom, who is now platforming Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon on his podcast. These are two individuals that I'd say are deeply responsible for a lot of the right-wing messaging that has sort of, to use that phrase, red-pilled individuals into that other side. How do you feel about that?
I'm not surprised because the same people are bankrolling all of them. And the people that are not doing that are not getting those big checks from the corporations.
I'm furious. Chuck Schumer and the Democrats. I have been a lifelong Democrat. I've been a Democrat since the 70s. Long time. And I am done with that. I am what you used to consider a moderate. And I'm still the same person. They changed. Schumer changed. This resist means something. Resist. That's my attitude. Fight back. And Schumer, I'm done with. Yeah.
So my question is the damage that is currently being caused, not just from, what Elon Musk is doing. Clearly this is deep damage and cuts that I think it's going to take a long time to recoup from. But if the Democratic Party doesn't actually do something to fight back, and I don't know what that looks like at this point, is any of this recoverable in your opinion?
Is it recoverable? Good question. The only way it's recoverable is for us. I cannot count on my senators. The House stood up and did their thing. Senators aren't going to stand up for us. Cortez Masto didn't. I think it's left to us. I've given up on them as being an out. So yeah,
I agree. Like it's about us. We need to. Like one thing that Bernie used to always say, like in 2016 and 2020, is it's not about him. It's about us. It's a movement. It's about us all coming together. And as he was saying today, we've done it before in this country. So since we've done it, and history shows that what we've done before we could do again, it's going to be hard work, but if we stick together, we can do it.
So let me ask you this. We are now seeing Republican voters very angry at town halls. It's not just the Democrats that are angry. Maybe Elon Musk has gone several bridges too far even for them. But I do think they're obviously feeling the pain of having some of these federal programs disappearing, being cut. Maybe they have loved ones that are even being deported at this point. So do you think that there is a way to message to those individuals that has nothing to do with culture wars, right? We're not saying that is up for debate, right? We're still going to protect marginalized individuals, but is there a way to message those individuals and bring them to what is your side of the side of the aisle, so to speak?
Yeah, I think there is, because 90% of the population cares about the same things. They care about their family. They care about their kids and their grandkids. So I think we need to talk more about that and talk less divide. Like, what do we have in common?
Right. I mean, I do think that a certain percentage of them are not going to be so glued to the culture wars that they would see the wisdom of that.
True, but I mean, that might be a percentage, but if it's 2 out of 5 people, if we could talk to those five people and then get 3 of them to start to see our side a little bit, then that's definitely progress. And those 2%, or that 2 out of 5 that aren't listening at all, they'll probably listen to those other 3 if they're their friends.
I think that's fair.
I think there's an overreach. I think Trump overreached. I think Elon's overreached. I've said that for a long time, that they've been overreaching, much like California did in the early 90s, and they went all anti-immigration, and now it's all Democrat. It took a few years, but I feel this is the overreach. I think they're so blind, so unaware of where America is, that they are burying themselves. It may take longer than I want.
Got you. So you're saying that there might be some sort of reactionary backfiring that happens, and we sort of course correct?
Yeah, I think it's not going to be. I think it's going to be oligarchy. I think it's going to be the money.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going to take them down. I think that overreaching. Yes.
Excellent. Any parting thoughts?
Resist. Come on, Democrats, step up. Good Lord.
I got you.
And I'm going to say step up if you're a Democrat or a Republican. I don't care. If you're Green Party, if you're independent, we have to fight for the country. And we really have to stop being left, right. It's for the people. Are you for the people or are you for power? Pick a side and fight.
So our job in the coming weeks and months is not just to take Trump on in every step of the way, but it's to do more. It's to have a vision for where our country should be going. As the wealthiest nation on earth, to begin, it's important to know that we are not going to make the changes we need so long as we continue to have a corrupt campaign finance system. It is not democracy when Musk himself can spend $270 million to help elect Trump and then become the most powerful person in government. And there are billionaires in the Democratic Party also playing a major role. Our job is to overturn this horrendous Supreme Court decision on Citizens United and to move this country to public funding of elections, one person, one vote, not billionaires buying elections. No, we should not be giving huge tax breaks to billionaires. On the contrary, we've got to demand that they start paying their fair share of taxes. No. That sounds pretty good up here. And while we're at it, we cannot maintain a federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. Got to raise that minimum wage to a living wage, at least $17 an hour. And we, all over this country, workers know that if you want decent wages and benefits and working conditions, you've got to join a union. But all over this country, corporations are making it harder and harder for workers to join unions. And that's why we need to pass legislation that I just introduced called the PRO Act, that penalizes any employer that acts illegally when workers are trying to form a union. Together, we're going to stop the cuts to Social Security. Instead of cutting Social Security, we're going to expand Social Security benefits. Instead of making massive cuts to Medicaid, we're going to join every other major country on earth, guarantee health care to all, to a Medicare for all single-payer system. And in the wealthiest country on earth, you know what? Nobody should go homeless. Nobody should pay 50% of their income in housing. We can create millions of jobs by building 4 million units of low-income and affordable housing and stopping corporate landlords from jacking up rent prices. I grew up in a rent-controlled apartment. Seems to me that's a pretty good idea. And in a competitive global economy, we need the best educated workforce in the world. All of our young people must have the ability to get a higher education by making public colleges and universities and trade schools and universities tuition free. Alexandria led the effort for the Green New Jobs, creating millions of good-paying jobs, transforming our energy system to save the planet. Let's do it.